Good evening. Welcome to the QCIS channel. We're on this channel, you get a daily dose of science, technology, engineering, and math. My name is Leon Jones, and what I'm going to talk about tonight is basically the career in engineering, and it is all disciplines of engineering. And in this video, I want to talk about reasons to become a professional engineer. Now, a professional engineer meets the requirements with the ABET accredited college degree. Now, some go on and get a master's degree. Now, to become an engineer, of course, you have to have a minimum of a bachelor's degree from ABET college, which means your curriculum has to be accredited by ABET, the EAC of ABET. Of course, in some states, they also allow you to become a PE once you get your degree in engineering technology as well. Now, why do I believe it's very important to get your engineering license? In fact, this video is going to talk about reasons why you need to become a professional engineer. Give you 10 different reasons from a PowerPoint that I discovered, because I believe this: when you have your professional engineer's license, you can go a lot further. In fact, if you don't want to work for somebody else, you can always start up your own consulting company. Now, what is the purpose of licensure? Well, it's to make sure that we design infrastructure that is safe for the health and welfare of the public. That is numero uno. And of course, there are regulations, ethics that you have to utilize to maintain your license. Now, getting an engineering license is just like getting a law license, a CPA, an MD, any type of license. Now, I'm going to share my screen and talk about 10 reasons to become a professional engineer. Now, many of us get out of school, again, we're already degreed engineers, but you want to separate yourself from the pack. Now, of course, this is by Jack Kleinfeld, PE, and looks like he's a member of the IEEE. Want to go into the engineering route. But first, what is a professional engineer? You have to know what a professional engineer is before you can become one. Then you understand the requirements. Well, a professional engineer, we call them PEs, is a person who is licensed to practice engineering in a particular state or territory after meeting all requirements of the law. So to practice in multiple states or territories, the PE must be licensed in each state which he or she wishes to practice. Now, overview. There are legal requirements for engineering practice. Professional registration process, FE examination specifications, strategies for passing the FE exam, study materials, answers to common questions, and then why become a licensed professional engineer. Now, for the legal requirements, All states and jurisdictions have registration laws governing the practice of engineering. Most states prohibit persons who are not registered PEs from advertising, using a business card, or otherwise indicating to the public that they are an engineer, also assuming the title of engineer, practicing, offering, or practice, or holding themselves out as qualified to practice as an engineer. Now, again, what are the requirements to become a licensed PE? Again, for the most part, education, ABET, EAC. EAC is part of ABET. It's the Engineering Accreditation Commission. And basically, when we're talking about engineering, you start off with the math from algebra all the way up through differential equations. And then after you get your degree or while you're in school, you take the first exam known as the EIT or the FE examination. Then you need 4 years of work experience under a professional engineer. And then you take what we call a PNPE, a professional and practicing engineer. That's known as the PE license. Now, the new FE examination format. Now, of course, this right here, this right here is kind of old. 4 hours, 120 points. This used to be the old fundamentals of engineering, where you had a morning session. The engineering examination was 8 hours. You would do 120 questions in the morning and 60 questions in the afternoon. Basically, you would have different disciplines or just general civil engineering, electrical engineering, mechanical engineering, chemical engineering, industrial engineering. And this is what the morning session used to look like when it was on pencil and paper. Everybody had to take the general requirements, even if you didn't have the courses in school. But again, this is information showing you on the steps to take to become a professional engineer. This is the morning session, the old morning session. Now, what it is now with the FE examination is now 110 questions, and you have 7 different disciplines. And each discipline is different now. So everybody doesn't have to take chemistry, computers, or dynamics, or electrical circuits on their examinations. Now it's, for the most part, except for what we call the general or the other disciplines, you take what is in your discipline. Like if you're going for civil, you're going to have a certain amount of math questions that you have to complete. You're going to have a certain amount of engineering economics questions, statics, dynamics, mechanics of materials, those courses that relate to civil engineering. Now, used to be that you had an afternoon session, and basically these are all the disciplines. You still have an afternoon session. You may have, out of 110, you may have 54 questions in the afternoon, and they're more specific based. Now, what's missing up here is environmental engineering. Now, something that you need to know too, and I'm working on this myself, there are strategies to taking these tests. And even myself, I have to think about it. You have to watch the time, because some of these problems on the FE examination test, you want to get them done in just under 3 minutes. So you have to think before you start. You're going to have to guess. You're not going to get a 100 on a test, but you have to get a minimum of a 70%. It's a scaled score. And that's the same thing for the PE as well. Now, the FE examination, and I did a video on it last week, is a closed book exam. Now for the test too, you don't get any credit, or you don't get marked off for wrong answers. And you have to prepare for the test. Again, you have your reference book, you have your standards that you go by. Now, frequent questions, again, like I said, this is somewhat old, so I'm giving you an updated version, but you need to understand the process on how you can go from degree to professional engineer. Now, can I transfer my EIT registration? Well, EIT is nationwide. EIT is nationwide. Now, will graduate school count for 4 years of experience? And I'm going to answer that question for you right now. No. If you have a master's degree, you can get up to, you can substitute, let's say you have to have 4 years if you don't have a master's degree. You can substitute up to 1 year. So in other words, if you have a master's degree and 3 years of work experience, you can take the PE. Now, if you have a doctorate degree, in some states with a doctorate degree, and you have to check your state boards out, they even waive the FE examination. But you have to check with your state boards because each state is different. Now, when it comes to work experience, you can substitute up to 2 years of work experience when you have a doctor's degree, which could be a doctor of engineering or a PhD. So in other words, you need 4 years of experience to go from your, this is after passing the FE, going to your PE. So if you have a doctorate degree, you only need 2 years of work experience, and you can substitute the other 2 years with your doctorate degree. What score is required to pass the test? It's 70. Now, the 70 goes all the way back to the pencil and paper test. It's a scaled score now. And I'm going to give you some information on how I believe they come up with the scaled score. Now, if I fail, can I take the test again? Well, yes, it used to be you could only take the FE in April and October. Now you can take it 3 times a year. And here are the months that you cannot take the FE. They say it's all year round. Technically, it's not true. You don't take the test in March, June, September, and December. But out of the other 8 months, you can take the test. But again, you need a 70 to pass. And that 70 is a scaled score. Now, there's a lot that goes on for them to come up with what is a passing score out of 110 questions. Now, if I fail, can I take the test again? Yes, you can. And what you have to do, you get a diagnostic test, and we're talking about the fundamentals of engineering examination right now. But yes, you can take the test again if you fail. But remember, you can only take it 3 times a year. It's $225. Now, how can I contact the registration board in my state when I'm ready for the PE exam? Well, you're going to have to get lots of signatures. You're going to have to get your proof of your work experience. Your work experience is going to come from working under other PEs. Now, I believe you need 5 references, and you need your transcripts from all of your schools that you attended so they can see that you have met the bachelor's degree requirements. And you have to take an ethics exam and pass that when it comes time for your PE. Now, you can actually put all that information under the NCEES records because the state can look up your name and they can pull that information, I believe. Now, if I'm wrong, if you're a PE, you put it in my comment section. Now, what is an accredited degree? Well, most colleges or universities that award an engineering degree are accredited by the Engineering Accreditation Commission of the Accreditation Board for Engineering and Technology. If you do not have a degree accredited by EAC or ABIT, additional experience requirements may apply. And they're talking about, let's say if you have engineering technology. Well, again, you have to look at your state to see, because I know in Pennsylvania, if you have an engineering technology degree, you only need 4 years of work experience. Some states you need 8. Some you need 6, but check your state boards. So after qualifying as a PE in electrical engineering, in some states, yes, in other states, you're licensed as a PE without any other designation. However, you can practice only in your field of expertise gained by education or experience. Now, what they're saying is, when you go take a PE, and if your expertise is in electrical engineering, you can take any PE exam, just like you can take any FE exam. Like, say if I'm a electrical engineer and I don't want to take the electrical engineering PE exam, I can take the civil PE exam. But my expertise is in electrical engineering. So I have to practice. Once I pass the exam, I have to practice in the field where I gain experience and education. That's what they're talking about. Can you become licensed nationally? No, but there is reciprocity. But just as with any other professions, again, the answer is no, you cannot be licensed nationally. Again, just like any other profession, the requirements for licensure are left up to the states. However, most state laws are similar to the NCEES model law. So usually you don't have to pass exams again and again. You can be licensed by comity, which we call it reciprocity. But now you have to make sure that you transfer everything to the other state. So you're going to have to go through the other state boards and pay their fee. And you have to renew your PE license every 3 years. And you do that by taking CEUs, which are continuing education units, or PDHs, professional development hours. And you can also join, because where you're going to get the freebies are like here in Indiana, if you're in civil, you get some PDHs by going to road school at Purdue University, or ASCE has something for you, coursework, or ACEC, they have something for you. But the answer to becoming licensed nationally, no. Now, what are the 10 reasons for becoming a licensed engineer? And there are more than 10 reasons, but most will fall in 4 categories. Number 1, a legal necessity, improved employment security, better opportunities for advancement, and of course, personal satisfaction. And here they are again, so you can see them. Now we deal with legal necessity. If you ever want to become a consulting engineer, you must be licensed as a PE. Now, this is where PEs are ahead of the game. Only PEs can sign and seal engineering documents that are submitted to a public authority or for public and private clients. Improved employment security. Well, sometimes you're going to have restructuring, downsizing, and even outsourcing. That's the truth. So if you have a PE license, it may help you obtain new employment in case you have a company that gets bought by another company or your job outsources. Also, industry and utility exemptions are being eliminated in some jurisdictions. And continuing education is required for a professional engineer in some states by law, but in all states in practice. Opportunities for advancement. Many companies encourage licensure and some even pay a bonus for becoming a PE. Education, more colleges are requiring a PE license for engineering faculty or for holding certain titles. Increasingly, in many industry, utility, and government positions, a PE is required for specified jobs or levels. Also, with the engineering profession now operating in an international environment, licensing may be required to work in or for other countries. You will be prepared in the event your career moves in that direction. Personal satisfaction. Licensure is a mark of a professional. Ethical standards, continuing education, professional competency are expected. PE after your name indicates that you have met the standards and can be respected as a professional. And one big reason, let's look at this chart right here. Numbers don't lie. Now, you look at the titles on this bar graph. You have your EIT. You're not licensed. You have your PE, your PE environmental, your PE in forensic. Well, if you look at your EIT with this bar graph, which is not necessarily true, it just depends on what your field is, and I'm going to get into that in a moment. Well, generally, your EIT makes a little bit more than somebody that's not licensed, as long as that EIT has experience. Now, this bar graph may represent an EIT that took the FE examination with no experience in college. That's where I'm getting my interpretation from. And then, not licensed, you make a little bit more. That means you have some experience. With your PE, and this is a PE, just a PE, you make a little bit more than not licensed. And then if you have a specific specialization, environmental, you make more than a PE, and then PE forensic, make more than a PE environmental. Now, this is all median income. That's what it is. And then the future. Are you ready? Having a PE is the best insurance policy and could affect your career. Time is to start now, so contact your state licensing board for requirements and examination dates. Licensing board addresses and phone numbers can be obtained on the internet. You can also go to the NCEES website. And PE, in the National Society of Professional Engineers, encourages you to get it. Again, an SPE, which stands for the National Society of Professional Engineers, encourages you to get the PE. I also encourage you to get the PE, no matter what you have to do. Now, what do you need? Start off with, again, the FE. Here's some information. Get some of these books out here. I have plenty of books out here. Yes, they're going to cost a little money, but The information is here. Some that I recommend as well for the FE examination. This gentleman right here, he's pretty good. His name is Dr. M. Rashad Islam. He's a professor at Colorado State University in Boulder, and there are lots of other ones you could take. This is one for the environmental. Here's another one for the other disciplines. If you're taking the environmental and you want to practice some problems, this is one as well. That's your problems right there. And you can also order a practice exam from NCEES. I did that. And the best thing, practice problems, understand exam strategies. Now, let's get into more of the FEPE. There are a number of majors that really don't require you to get your PE. Talking about chemical, a lot of chemicals, a lot of mechanicals don't have it. A lot of your industrials don't have it, and a lot of your electrical engineers don't have it. Mainly the individuals that work with the government or have consulting firms are doing infrastructure design. So someone who's a building engineer or an architectural engineer, because of the liability, and they're working more with the public, and civil engineers. Now, mechanical engineering, they also take the PE, but if you are designing HVAC, heating, ventilation, air conditioning, and refrigeration devices, yeah, you're going to need your PE as well. Now, for every discipline, if you're going to provide service to the public, such as designs, regardless of what your engineering discipline is, you're going to need a PE. But again, I just want to make it clear, not all of the engineering disciplines have PEs, or you don't need them. And I'm saying that because like chemical engineering and petroleum engineering, some areas of mechanical, electrical, or industrial, without it, it's not going to affect your career as much. But when you're in civil engineering and architectural engineering, it will affect your career. Because it's very important. Because when you're dealing with buildings, you're dealing with the safety and welfare of the public. And that's why having a professional license is important. And I will encourage you to do this. Learn as much as you can in college. Take the exam while you're in college. That way you will have that first part. I'm talking about the FE exam. It is tough. It's on computer now. Even the PE is on computer now. So it used to be the PE, you could take a lot of information with you. Can't now. So what you need to know when you take the FE and PE, you need to understand the handbook, manual formulas. That's why getting acquainted to the handbook is very important, because you're not going to remember every equation unless you're Einstein. Even Einstein couldn't memorize everything. But bottom line, if you want a good career, get a PE, regardless of discipline. And that concludes this topic on reasons to become a professional engineer. If you like what I just presented, please comment, share, and subscribe. If you're looking for some political and some social content, you can check out my main channel, the 411 Talk Zone Radio Show channel. Now, here's where you can find me. 411 Talk Zone Radio Show channel. Find me on YouTube, Twitter, which is X. You can also find me on Truth Social and Rumble. And for the QCIS channel, you can find me on YouTube, X, which is Twitter, or Twitter, which is X. It's the same thing. And also LinkedIn. And I do videos, 411 Talk Zone Radio Show, basically every Wednesday. Every Thursday, I follow up with videos on this channel, the QCIS channel. And again, thank you for viewing this content from the QCIS channel. We're on this channel. You get a daily dose of science, technology, engineering, and math. Till next time, my name is Leon Jones. You all have a wonderful, gracious evening.